never really start off with your best track, do you? It's like,
Do you ever start off with your best track? Are first tracks good? That's what we're finding out today. I'm going to be ranking every first track in each cup from worst to best. I won't be counting the arcade games, or tour cups, or the Super Circuit Extra cups. Anyways, let's get into it. Number 65 is Wii Desert Hills. I despise this track, not because I hate it, but because it's boring. I feel nothing. The best part is the Mario Bros. 3 references, but they could have gone way more into it. It's a desert course, not even like a cool desert course or has anything memorable. It just has turns and Mario Bros. 3. Really boring, so it's in last. DS version is the same, it just has better colors and plays slightly better because the drifting is designed for DS and not Wii. 63 is DS Choco Island 2. This track is ugly with stupid looking poo off-road. This track is stupid rainbow blocks. This track plays bad, is really slippery, sucks on the eyes, has those stupid bumps that stop your drift. Choco Island 2 is just a nightmare track. I don't know a single person that likes it, so it goes here at 63. SNES Mario Circuit 3 on the Wii is such a lame Lightning Cup track. It's ugly with those stupid rainbow blocks, and it's just such a boring track design-wise, and why is it in the Lightning Cup? It's like a Flower Cup track maybe. Like, look at this. A good track should be front-running and bagging. You look at this track, this is literally just bagging. This is why it's at number 62. And it is just not fun to play on. Figure 8 Circuit is 61. This track is not in last because it has decent music and the first track's factor. The factor is as follows. The track will get a bit of a boost if it's the first track of a game because it needs to teach the player how to play. Anyways, let's go on to the next course. 60 is SNES Choco Island 1 on Super Mario Kart. This track is just SMK2, but less janky with, less bumps, has no mud pile, and the skybox looks pretty nice, which goes for both versions, but I'll mention it here. This is just a bad track that doesn't look good, but it's just kind of boring if anything, and not infuriatingly bad designed. Tokyo blurs our first city course at 59. This track doesn't feel like Tokyo. It just feels like a bunch of highways with walled off roads. The best part, probably the music. This part is really good. My favorite part of the track would probably have to be that shortcut on lap 2, with the grass and the ramp. You can do it shroomless on 150 and 200cc, which makes it really fun online. GCN Dry Desert is our next track at number 58. This is just a boring track. They did add an Oasis, but it's kind of janky and doesn't really play well. And then there's the problem of it being another bagging track that's just really disgusting. Like, look at this. You get a golden mushroom, you basically win. And on top of that, they removed the plant and the tornado from Double Dash. So it goes here, mediocre track. No one likes this honk shit. 57 belongs to London Loop. I just don't find this track interesting. The color scheme is boring. It's just a lot of gray and beige. Best part, probably the part where you're going through the garden with the chain chomps that are supposed to represent the Queen's corgis, which is cool. But besides that, it's just a kind of boring, it's bland. At least the music is pretty decent. 56 belongs to the Calamari Desert in Mario Kart 7. I always thought Calamari was a bit overrated. They did add 2 gliding shortcuts, which is really cool. But this is another bagging track because of all the off-road, which is what can you do? The music is okay, but the track is just kind of boring. It's just kind of a lot of orange, and I never really liked the train as a hazard, as it kind of lets the people in the front get even farther ahead, and the people in the back suffer, which isn't good. Hazards should level out the playing field and not make the better player better. 55 is Mario Circuit. It has a boring layout, and it is kind of just boring theme-wise, as it's just another Mario Circuit. But it is pretty fun. It's so tight-packed, and since it's all anti-grab, you're always spinning into them and getting the spinny boost. It's also just a really fun, fast-paced track that you can either front-run or bag because of the good amount of shortcuts and the fact that it's a short track. Overall, it's just a decent track, and my favorite part is gliding over the Goomba stack. You can even get like a little concussion on the Mario Kart sign, which is pretty cool. 54 goes to SNES Mario Circuit 1. Being the first track in this series, remade as the first retro track in a list about first tracks in a cup, has to mean something. It's like its own version of the first track factor, but a lot more minor. Besides that, theme stuff, stupid colors, it's way too short, and it's pretty shortcut heavy. But being the first of retro is pretty cool. Our 53rd place is Mario Circuit Wii. This is odd, a third Mario Circuit. It's almost like they're all boring without the first track factor. Anyways, it's a decent track that plays well on bikes and has okay music. My favorite part is probably the part with the sand and the chain chomps. Besides that, it's just an okay course. Our 52nd spot is Wario Stadium N64. This track is just way too long and way too wide. Feels like you never see anyone. It's also kind of just weird. The best part definitely is the blue Wario decorations plastered all over the track for no reason. For some reason, it uses the Luigi Raceway theme, which I can't think of using it for anything else other than laziness, because it really does not fit the track at all. And they could have done something like Waluigi Stadium or a song like in that fashion. Our 53rd track is DK Pass in Mario Kart DS. I don't know. This track is a decent track design-wise. I just really don't like it that much. The going up the mountain I don't find very fun. It is just drifting back and forth in kind of an S shape. Some people like it, but I don't. I guess I like mushrooming up those. The drive down is a lot more fun, where you're trying to dodge the snowball and then jump off the platform. But it is like maybe 30% of the track, so it's like 10 seconds at most. It is not a lot of time. The snowman at the end, I guess, are cute, but again, it's a very small point of the track. And the music doesn't really feel like it belongs in a race, more like a hootenanny or something. Overall, it is just a okay track that I find not that enjoyable. The big number 50 is Mario Circuit and Mario Kart Super Circuit. This track is quite boring, but the music is good, and one thing that is good in this track and all Super Circuit tracks are the backgrounds, which in this case is super pretty. It's a nice jungle with nice lush turquoise greens and these new Super Mario Bros. Hills that I just really like and is really pleasant on the eyes, which is why it goes here. 49 is Koopa Beach 2 DS. This is just pretty nice, calming track. I like the water bit. I do not like the rainbow blocks and the green dirt, but the song is just really nice and chilling, and the beach themes in Mario Kart are just all kind of bops. This is on the lower end of beach levels, but it's decent. The start of C tier is Luigi Circuit Wii. This track is okay. I really like the pipe shortcut at the end in the sand. That's pretty hard to take, actually. This level is a sunset version, which is pretty cool, but overall, it is just boosted by the first track factor, and besides that, it's only okay. 48 belongs to the 3DS version of N64 Luigi Raceway. This track is okay, has some decent set pieces, like I like the tunnel part I guess. It is just a lot of straight roads and one big turn though, even though it is fun if you get a golden mushroom or star to take inwards into the grass. The Luigi balloon, again with the blue shell, that's a super cool idea. I wish they do that more on Mario Kart tracks where there's item boxes that are hidden that give you certain items. But yeah, it's very basic and is not boosted by the first track factor, though adding the ability to go on the side with the blue platform is pretty cool, I guess. Our 47th spot is GBA Peach Circuit. It has the Mario Circuit thing, where the layout isn't that interesting, but has really nice aesthetics, like the peach trees are pretty nice, and the pink castle that kind of looks like a pink marshmallow. Also, it's kind of weird that Mario Circuit and Peach Circuit's mini-maps both look like characters, either being the Pianta or fucking Ferb, which is crazy, and I love it. We need more mini-maps that look like characters. Yoshi Circuit doesn't count. Our 46th spot goes to the N64 version of Luigi Raceway. This is quite literally just the same as the 3DS version, but instead of being able to drive on the blue path, you get the first track bonus. And the blue path wasn't really that good anyways, because you were taking the most outside turn to use it, so it's never really used. So yeah, this is just a bit better. 46 is SNES Donut Plains 1 on the DS. This is just such a nice, enjoyable track. It's really this high. It's kind of basic design-wise, but it is so satisfying to play on DS. I don't know, the drifting just feels like it was made for Donut Plains 1. And it has the Donut Plains song, aka the best SMK song, with the whistle and everyone loves the whistle. Rome Avanti kind of feels overhated, but it also kind of feels like its quality is just all over the place. Like, lap 1 is quite decent. That part where you're drifting up the Colosseum before jumping into a grass area and then driving around the horse statue is quite decent. Lap 2 I do not find interesting though. It is just roads with buildings and grass. It's like a copy of lap 1 but with more grass. Lap 3 is quite cool though. They use the glider a lot, and the light blue water really contrasts with the night sky. And they use fuzzies, which is like one of the most awesome underused Mario Kart enemies. We should use more fuzzies in Mario Kart. Overall, it is just a quite decent track, though I do feel the song doesn't really fit a race, and that's why it's at number 44. New York Minute is at 43. This track has two strengths. One, the neon colors of the city. If you're gonna repeat one thing, that's not bad. There is also the Central Park sections, which I just find so boring. Like, there's just like Rome Avanti's grass. And there's also the Broadway part, which is actually pretty cool. I do like drifting up and then jumping out. And it's like nice red, yellow, looks good together. And the second good thing it has going for it, the music. The music feels distinctly Broadway, yet it also works as a racetrack song, which is why I like it, and it's just like really jazzy and fun. So New York Minute goes here. Super Mario Kart's Mario Circuit 1 is at 42. This is the first Mario track, and in a track ranking about the first tracks in each cup, the first ever track, it's gotta mean something, right? It's like an extra first track factor. Besides that, this track is nothing special. It has mediocre music, it's very shortcut heavy, and it's not that pretty on the eyes. But hey, it's a first track in Mario Kart, piece of history. Our 40th track goes to Koopa Beach 1 on Super Mario Kart. This might be the most simple, easy track in all of Mario Kart, and it's just really chill and calming. It's just fun, you know? You're just driving with the cheap cheeps while a nice beach tune plays in your ears. You literally don't have to use your brain. You just slightly hold to the right every couple of seconds while accelerating. It's pretty nice, but again, it is literally just a circle with beach. Breaking into the 30s is Donut Plains 3 on Super Mario Kart. This is one of the best SMK tracks, period. There's the bridge section, which it's fun to hop around the bridge, that there's a hole, that you have to use your hopping mechanic, because you rarely actually have to jump in Mario Kart besides drifting. It also is just pleasant, fun to play. There's lots of water in a grass track, so it has decent color variety, and it has such a fire song, man. Like, listen to this. This is just heat. .38 goes to DK Jungle. This is such a disappointing track as a Donkey Kong Country fan. Like, out of all 8 worlds you could have picked in Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is what this track was based on, you picked the jungle theme. Donkey Kong already has 2 jungle tracks, and you had to make a 3rd. The only good part about this track is the Banana Temple, because it splices things up. Not only that, the song is just boring. You took the DKC theme and you added a good bass line. Don't get me wrong, the bass line is fire, but you didn't really do anything to the DKC theme. A good example of a DKC remix would be Sunset Shore from DKC Returns. Have a listen to that for a bit. Toad Circuit is a decent cookie cutter track, and it's at 37. You know, it teaches the player how to play pretty well. The first turn teaches you how to drift decently enough. It teaches you how to use the glider on lap 2, you know, you can go over the bridge or under the bridge. And the second half has, you know, decent shortcuts, as well as the rip-off of the pipe shortcut from Luigi Circuit B. It's just a decent, run-in-the-mill, basic starter track that is boosted by the first track factor. DK's first track, DK Jungle Parkway, is at 38. The sunbox is neat, and I like the cruise. It's a neat touch. The cave and bridge part are pretty cool, and climbing up the cave by mashing jump in the N64 version is really fun. I hate how they throw coconuts at you when you go off-road. It's just such an annoying touch. The track is very bland besides those things, though. Like, it's just jungle. It's all just jungle with some turns. With, as well, having one of the most boring music tracks in the game. Number 35 belongs to Bangkok Rush. This is just a decent looking track. The beginning area with a little bit of the water and the boats is pretty interesting, though I don't think you would see that in a city normally. It's still fun to drive on and fun to trick off the boats. The area where you go up the hill and then glide off into the sunset is quite a neat set piece that I do enjoy. For some reason there's a parking garage, which is interesting, and I guess the market's neat too. The song is okay, and overall, it's just quite a decent city course that I enjoy playing quite a good amount. Peach Beach is in number 34 because it's such a vibe. Like most beach tracks, it's really nice and calming, and the water and sand look pretty nice. There's a nice town in the beginning which is charming, and they use piantas, and they have faces on the trees. The oil rig looking area is pretty cool, and I like how there's Daisy Cruiser in the background, which is a touch to how Daisy Cruiser and Peach Beach in GameCube have the same music. The track plays fine. It is pretty basic. even though Cataquacks are like top 3 Mario Kart hazards. Besides the Cataquacks, it is pretty basic, but a track I do enjoy playing on from time to time. Paris Promenade is next at number 33. Not promenade, but promenade. That's how it's pronounced. This kind of has the first track factor, because it was the first track in the BCP, as well as being the first city track, which is cool. They use the Eiffel Tower a lot, which is good, and it kind of is a good introduction to the using one big road multiple times, taking different paths in a lap, whatever you called it, where Mario Kart Tour does that. The music is nice in French, obviously, and I quite enjoy it. Even though the track is quite basic, at least the mini-map isn't cluttered, and it's just overall quite a pleasant course. GBA Luigi Circuit is next at 33. This is quite an interesting track that is really pretty. You know, they have the weather research station back there, and that Luigi blimp is pretty interesting because it's also in Sky Garden, and Sky Garden is the next track after Luigi Circuit. It's almost like after Luigi Circuit, you know, they flew up to Sky Garden and that's why you're there. It's cool when Mario Kart has stories with their tracks. They should do it more. Besides that, the song's decent and it's just an okay track. Now that we're halfway through, time to do the obligatory battle mode track ranking all the first battle maps in each game. Number 10, Moo Moo Meadows. Racetracks never work as battle mode tracks. Number 9, GBA Battle Map 1. It's fine, just a little bland. Number 8 is SNES Battle Map 4 on the Wii. You know, it's technically not the first in the game, but it's the first one in the retro category, so I'll count it. Pretty basic. Number 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's SNES Battle Course 1. This is a decently well-designed track. I like the gliding area. I like how there's only one cage in the Renegade Roundup, and the feather works well on this map. Number 6, Block Plaza. I like how the map crumbles, but besides that, it's like worst block for it. Number 5, DS. A good flat battle map that's pretty cool that you're racing on a DS as well. Number 4, Big Donut. You know, it's a bit big, but it's pretty iconic, and it's just a blast. Number 3, Honey Hive. I like taking the wind geysers, trying to avoid items. It's fun. Number 2, Cookie Land. Yoshi cookie references, plus the bumpers are fun to run into. Number 1, Battle Stadium. This is just a really fun track with anti-grab, not anti-grab, and it was a really good way to start off the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Nitro battle maps. Amsterdam is okay. It's at number 32. I like the song, how it has those deep... I like how it uses underwater. It's the only city track to do that, which is pretty cool. The windmill section's pretty nice, but the roses do look ugly. It's just an all-around decent city track that isn't really that best in terms of graphics, but it's alright. It's mainly just the rose section I dislike. Wii's version of Sherbet Land is next at 31. This track is so fun if you have a golden mushroom or a high off-road vehicle, because the whole track is actually covered. There's no normal road. It's all slightly off-roaded. And that means when you jump, the Wii remote will make a ice sound, which I really loved doing back in the day. Again, if you have something like the Magic Cruiser, it is just so fun. It also just has the nice winter vibes. It has peak penguins, and I really love the aesthetic of the ice cave. It's so much. As you'll see later, I really like ice caves. And it's just overall a nice glacial track. Berlin Byways is at 30. This is the start of our B tier as well. Is the track well designed? No. Terrible mini-map. Boring design. I like the Berlin Wall. That's about it. The song, though, is absolute gas. It sounds like a nightclub got invaded by the German army and they started playing this patriotic ass beat. Here's a listen. DS Wario Stadium is next at 30. The track is fine. It has great music being the Waluigi pinball theme, and it has fun obstacles like the fireballs. The problem is, without tricks, it kind of feels awkward to go off the ramps. Like you're just like jumping, not even jumping, you're just rolling off. It also could have been better if the visuals were more distinct. It's mostly just the sand walls and mud. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent track, but it had the potential to be peak, S tier even. But right now, it's just a decent B tier track. Luigi Circuit GameCube is next at 29. This track has one gimmick. When you're driving ahead, you drive on the same main road twice. So the players in behind actually can hit you because you're going to be driving towards them. This is a cool gimmick, but the track road is very wide, so it's kind of hard to hit people. I do like the mansion in the background, and I do really like that chain chomp shortcut. That's probably my favorite part, and the music's quite good. Besides that, it's just a decent track though. 8's version of Wario Stadium comes in at number 28. This track I have a love-hate relationship with. I really love how they integrated anti-grav. That purple section just fits in seamlessly. And they added more colors compared to the original. Instead of it just being like yellow and brown, there's some purple and yellow and brown, which is cool. I hate the water section though. It just felt like they added water for the sake of having water, because only like 6 retros have water, and like a lot of them just barely use it. So they just plopped it in and it makes no sense. I despise it. It's like so unnecessary. You could have added water to so many other tracks, yet you picked Wario Stadium to add it to. It just kind of pisses me off. Besides that, it's a decent track though, which is why it's here. GBA Snowland is at 27, and I just feel this track is super underrated. Like, it's such festive fun. The skybox is absolutely beautiful. It's purple with a nice pastel light blue crystal. It's just so nice. And yes, there is track shaking, and that is a lot worse on GBA than it is on footage. But if you hold your screen in front of you, it isn't that bad. Whoa, so cool. Yeah, just hold your screen in front of you. And that's the main problem of the track gone. There's also this coin line that gives you 50 coins. It is like the only place to get coins in the track, which is really funny because if you get them, you can outrun a blue shell, and everyone else is just so slow with like no coins. It's great. Overall, this is just a track I really enjoy, has great vibes, and that I definitely find underrated. LA Laps is such a solid track. For the start, the beach area, I really like it. They use sidesteppers, the crab enemy, which is really underused in Mario and should be used more. It's used in like Shy Guy Beach, and that's about it. And taking shortcuts under the bridge in the sand is fun. Lap 2 has the Dodgers Stadium, which has Mario Sluggers references, which is awesome. We should have more Mario Sluggers representation in like everything. I would kill for a new Mario Sluggers game. Lap 3 has the oil rigs, which are out of place, but it diverses up the track, and I really actually like the oil rigs. It's the most fun part of the track. The song is just nice. It feels like one of those Beverly Hills movies where they'd have like a montage shopping in like the 90s. You probably know what I'm talking about. Just think of any generic shopping montage in like a Beverly Hills movie. Overall, it's just a track I really enjoy that has vibes, and it is definitely in the top half of city coasters. Sydney Sprint is at 25. This is just a nice track. There's not really a ton of standout parts, like layout-wise and visually-wise. It's just a lot of decency, a lot of good, decent quality. I do like the fair area, and gliding into and out of the Opera House is pretty cool. The song is obviously the best part. Just like listen to this, please. Even if you've listened to it 100 times, make it 1,000. GCN Yoshi Circuit is next at 24. This track is just really cool. And yes, it is indeed shaped like a mutilated Koopa that got hit by a truck, which is such a cool detail. There's so many cool shortcuts on this track, like the one at the beginning where you hop through the waterfall, or that secret cave entrance where everyone uses the same clip of the guy failing to get into the hole. The music is great, it's just a circuit theme, but it's just a great theme. And overall, the track is just so nice. It kind of feels like a little resort island, has its own little highway, a bridge. And it even has a Yoshi copter, which is a crazy callback. I love the Yoshi copter. This is just overall a quite solid track that is fairly rated, though I do sometimes think people overglaze how good the one shortcut is. Like, the shortcuts are good, but they're not all that. 8's Wario Gold Mine is next at number 23. This track has it's like a jack of all trades of Wario Stadium. They did fix the turn at the beginning of the Minecraft section, so that you never fall off. It isn't super janky to take because it's anti-grav. But unfortunately, because it's anti-grav, when you run into the minecarts, you don't tumble over anymore. You just boost off them like those speed boost things when you run into players in anti-grav. It makes the track very boring, less intense. Even though original Wario Gold Mine was pretty janky because of it, it had some charm, the jankiness kind of fit the track. But here, it's a lot more simple. Thankfully, the town down below still looks nice, still has a better song. So I would say it's about on par with the original, so it goes here at number 24. 22 goes to 7's Koopa Cave. This is like a trade-off of Wii Koopa Cave. The glider area makes the river section much better, and it feels a lot more satisfying to glide than run in the water, especially because you could glide over the first turn, which is really fun to do. Bad part, they absolutely neutered the water area. It used to be like a risk reversive reward section. You could go in the middle and get the speed boost, but if you get zapped, it's a major consequence. Now, it's barely a challenge, and the water makes it feel bad. The Cheep Cheeps just push you to the side. They don't even stop you, they just nudge you. And thankfully the music's still the same, and the first area is still pretty much the same, which overall puts it right here. I would say it's probably barely the worst version of Koopa Cave, just behind, actually no, the 8 version is the worst, then 7, and then Wii. It's like a backwards order. Next is the most racist, discriminatory track in all of Mario Kart. This track has active segregation in front of your eyes, and none of you realized it. It's Moo Moo Meadows in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 21. You see, on the track, there's all these white Moo Moos, so happy, frolicking on the track, getting in the way. If you look outside of the fences, you'll see black and brown Moo Moos. They're not allowed on the track. They're put in their own little corner where you guys probably didn't even know they exist. There's no art of black moo-moos or brown moo-moos. They're just on the side in the game files, being washed away for the white moo-moos. We need justice for black and brown moo-moos. And you look on the advertising of the track, it's only white moo-moos. White moo-moo trucks, white moo-moo badges, other white moo-moo stuff. The fucking logo of the track is a white moo-moo, but no black or brown moo-moo advertising. This is absolute racism. Anyways, besides that, track plays fine, it's charming, and it has nice music, I guess. But this is racist, and we need to do something about it. Toad Turnpike is just such a vibe, man. It's at number 20, and I absolutely adore what this track is going for. Feels like you're on a road trip on a highway late at night trying to get to a hotel. The Sunset Skybox is just absolutely incredible. It's probably one of like top 10 Mario Kart skyboxes, I would say. It just looks so nice and it perfectly helps the blues of the track. The traffic is difficult, but I also feel fair, and it is fun to weave in between the highways. Kind of silly that you're using a go-kart on the highway, but it's fine. The music is just kind of such a vibe. It feels like you're just like so out of it, you're just like floating around. And it's cool that it was used in Neo Bowser City. This is just overall such a nice out there track with a creative, good traffic gimmick. And it's just overall a vibe, so yeah. Koopa Troopa Beach is next at 19. And is it weird to say I prefer the N64 version over this one? I don't know. This version is great though. I love beach tracks in general, and the giant Koopa statue is so neat. It's especially cool that it's in the background of Sunshine Airport, which is so unnecessary, such a callback, like it's not even in Mario Kart 8. I just love that they included that, and Koopa Troopa Beach is a place I'd want to vacation at. The song is just so nice. It might be one of the best beach songs in Mario Kart. They did make the shortcut a lot worse though, in my opinion. It's a lot less skill now. You just use a mushroom and make it. In the original, you had to line it up. It was quite difficult to line it up, in fact. And it was also just, you could do it shroomless, which is awesome. If you time a hop when you're just at the edge of the ramp, you could barely nudge in, which is cool. It promotes skill. In the 7 version, you just mushroom off the ramp and you've basically done the shortcut, which is okay, I guess. They also made the water a lot less fun to drive in because you go in slow underwater speed, and it's just overall a decent amount worse than the original, but it's still fine, I guess. Baby Peak is 18. This is Baby Park. Baby Park. Everybody loves Baby Park. The song is literally just a jingle on repeat, which is objectively funny. And this track in the 8 Deluxe version has such a good background. Like, I would kind of want to have a racetrack that's racing in the actual Baby Park instead of just this one attraction. Don't get me wrong, I like Baby Park, but an amusement park track would be awesome. It's just Baby Park. There's not really a lot to say because everything's there and you can see it. It's amazing. So that's why Baby Park is this high at number 18. 17 goes to Madrid Drive, which is also the start of A tier. Madrid Drive is such a solid track, and it's a really good city. It has the best parts of the area, which are the football stadium and the museum, having their own themes, almost like Singapore Speedway. Also, let me mention, the song is really good. I like the guitar in it. It feels very Spanish. I just feel that the track is a bit overrated. The Wiggler is cute, but it does feel like just a lot of white buildings with flags and stuff. I don't know, it's just not quite my thing, though I can see it's a good track. It's just not the S tier people say it is. Shockingly, Mario Kart Stadium is next at 16, and this is the best starter course in all of Mario Kart. First off, it teaches you how to play the game amazingly. The drifts feel nice, like a good player can do them, but there's also shortcuts that are really fun to take without shrooms, or the ending gliding cut, which makes it decently challenging, so it's good for online. I always pick this if this comes up. The track feels so grandiose, like everyone's cheering you on in the stands. It's at night, which is different from the other starter track. This just feels so much more grand than the other starter tracks. It also teaches you anti-grav well, shows you, what it can do. Oh, you're sideways, shows you that. And then it shows you gliding, which it does pretty well. The track is just overall so so big, especially the song helps feel that. Like, so grandiose. Have a listen to that. Daisy Circuit's next at 13. You may be thinking, why not 15? I was too off the whole time, ignore that. So anyways, this is this high purely for Wii bias. Yes, I know, Wii bias. The most creative criticism, but shut up. The beginning town is so nice. It just has such a vibe, especially with the nice orange sunset and the nice orange soda water, which I don't think should be orange. I don't know how the whole water's orange, but I know sunset and light and stuff, but okay. The music is just such a vibe, man. It feels like you're walking on like one of those harbor shores. I just really love it. I slightly, barely prefer it over the 8 version, purely because I prefer the synth piano used in this version. The lighthouse is probably the worst part about the track. It's just really a boring drift. Not that much. I guess the statues are cool, the underground tunnel's fine. It's just fine overall. And it has a really good loop to the song, which I'll use to loop into my next point. Yoshi's Circuit in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is next in our 12th spot. I do feel that this is better than the GCN version, and I know that's a pretty hot take, but let me explain why. I just think that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's art style and realism brings this track to life. For example, in the original, the start was just, it was just on the cliffside. Now, it's a town with little toads in it, which is so cool. The cave looks really nice, and it still has the water kart shortcut. Even though it doesn't have the underground shortcut anymore, which is a terrible loss, but at the same time, it did add something to replace it, which a lot of the GCN Yoshi Circuit stands never mention. Around the point of the mutilated Koopa spikes, you can now actually hop into the flower bed, which is shroomless on 200cc, which is not as cool as the underground tunnel, but it kind of cushions the blow of losing that tunnel. Besides that, we also get a new rendition of the GCN circuit theme, which is absolutely great. I love it. Besides that, it's just a pretty damn solid track that I do find better than the GCN version, and I stand by that. Mushroom Bridge is here, and it's at number 11. This might be one of the best traffic courses in all of Mario Kart, because of the different types of cars and stuff they have. They have the bomb car, which, you hit it with an item, run into it, you blow up, which is cool. You can, snipe a shell and blow someone up in front of you. They also have the mushroom car, where if you hit it with a shell or if you bump into it, it'll drop a mushroom on the floor, which is really cool. They also have the Wiggler bus. This isn't anything really cool, but it's just a big ass Wiggler. It kind of reminds me of that really hard Wiggler mission in Mario Kart DS on the neutered version of Mushroom Bridge. This track just also has really cool shortcuts, like the where you jump over the hill past like the little couple of houses. I really love that shortcut, as well as going on top of the bridge, which I don't know if it's actually slower or quicker. It's hard to do, but it's really, really cool. And it sucks that they removed it in the DS version, even though they kind of had to. They could have probably made it work though. The song is so nice. It feels like jazzy. It fits Mushroom City better, but it's fine on Mushroom Bridge. And this is overall just a really, really solid track. Athens Dash starts off our top 10. We all know and love Athens Dash. It is the city course that's not a city course. It feels like a better Thwomp Ruins with a better color scheme and song. I really love when that part where you glide up past it through the jungle and then you jump down those blue grater things starting lap 2. I don't know, it feels like you're on an adventure climbing up a hill before rushing down. It's just really cool. Actually, there's a lot of climbing up and going down on this track. I really like that. This just has so many cool things. It has a nice little town that you can glide to. It has the Coliseum-like area. This is just overall such an incredible track that really does feel like Thwomp Ruins with worse graphics, but better in literally every other way. 9th goes to 8th version of Neo Bowser City. This is just such a cool looking track. Like, it's a futuristic town. That's so cool. And it's a Bowser track that isn't just Bowser's castle and lava and stuff, which is like incredible. I love how the song is just a mix of like other Mario Kart songs, those being Luigi's Circuit Wii, Toad's Circuit in Mario Kart 7, and Toad's Turnpike from Mario Kart 64. All coincidentally being first tracks in a cup, which is really cool. Happens to be a cool coincidence. I really like the red bridge part. I don't know, it just looks so cool to me. Kind of looks like Shulk's Monado, but that might just be me. The gliding shortcut is also cool, where you can go off to the left and go up an airstream and pass a bit of the first turn, which I like those. They should add more of those gliding shortcuts with the windpipes. There was a lot of 7, but I can only really think of Shroom Ridge's cut in DCP that fits that description. Overall, it is just a really cool track that I really like. I used to find a bit overrated, but now I understand the hype. Dry Ruins is next at number 8. This is probably the best desert course in the whole series. To start, there's so much off-road, but it's not necessarily a bagging track. Like, there's lots of shortcuts where you skip the oasis and stuff, but I don't really see it much as a bagging track because it's kind of still beneficial to just go ahead. There's also these pillars that fall down that I actually avoid tricking on, because when you trick on them, they send you at like really awkward angles. The Ruins is super cool, having its own version of the song in that area where you have to use the half pipes to go over the sand. It's just awesome. And that middle area where the sand fills up and there's pokies. And lap 3, it's basically like a mountain where you have to use a mushroom, which I like. And the jump out of the cave's a cool cinematic. That final shortcut where you jump over the hill feels really satisfying to do. And overall, this is just really good design-wise, and it's a lot of fun. And the music's like, desert track songs are usually extremely like slow and boring, but this is like a nice, fast-paced desert song with a good bass, and I just really, really like it. This might be the hottest take of the video, but at number 7, I have GCN Sherbertland.
You need to leave!
Listen, let me explain myself. This track is just so nice. It has such a good winter night vibe, And there's only really two problems people have with the track: the freezies and the ice physics. Thing is about the ice physics is that if you don't drift, they actually aren't really that bad. And sure, you get hit by a freezie, it's bad, like you're frozen there, you just drive straight for like solid 3 seconds. But if you're not drifting, you shouldn't hit the freezies. And everything else, people like. And since I don't mind that section, I love this track. To start, the first drift around the ice hole is actually pretty fun, and the Shy Guy couple is absolutely adorable. The ice cave is so nice. Remember when I was talking about in the other Sherbert Land and Wii how I like ice caves? This is what I was talking about. It's like a nice light turquoise blue. It's just so nice. The red fences have little accents. There's faces in the ice that blow snow, which is so unnecessary. There's like these faces all over Double Dash, and I really like them. It gives it its own little Double Dash touch. The section after the cave is kind of boring. It's just snow. Like, I don't hate it. It's fine. It's just nothing special. But that freezy section is really cool. It's a really dynamic hazard because it's messing with your muscle memory to not drift. And if you don't drift, it's just pretty fun avoiding the freezies. If you do, you're going to have a bad time. It's just such a nice winter track. It has such good colors. Those like light blue bricks, the brown rocks with the nice snow. It's just the scarfs, the red snowman. It's just amazing. As well as having such a catchy snowy tune that I'm singing to all the time. I just absolutely adore this track, and I really want it to get the recognition it deserves, and just because it has ice physics doesn't make it bad. So that's why it's here at number 7. The 7 version of Piranha Plant Slide is next at number 6. This is a track I actually thought was overrated. Then I actually got smart and realized this is an incredible track. To start, the rushing water that Koopa Cave has, a cool thing to reuse. It's used in like a decent amount of the track. It just also has so much neat details, like the bricks and Goombas are blue, like the underground theme in Mario Bros, because this is an underground themed track. Or just the multiple brown blocks, the hit blocks, that area where you can take with a shortcut with the Piranha Plant is also cool. Drifting around the sewers, it's a sewer track, like the sewer track before the Mario Kart 4 sewer track. What's that called? Piranha Plant Pipeline. It's basically just that before. Then you go into the water, and this is probably the best underwater section in any Mario Kart track, period. There's these water geysers that boost you up in a higher path, and it's just so dynamic. You could use the water boost in the middle to jump over the Piranha Plant. That's so cool. Then after that, you take the launch up to 1-1. You go out of 1-2 into 1-3 kind of, which is just really cool. Not only that, it has a banger song. Like, the way the synth and the brass, they do fine, but the bass playing the underground theme the whole time is so incredible. I just love it. This track, people say, if you say it's overrated, you're just wrong. This is just an incredible track, and it goes here at number 6 at the end of A tier. Our number 6 goes to 8th version of DS Tick-Tock Clock. This is such an incredible concept for a track, driving inside of a clock, and they use it really well. One of the track's gimmicks is that it's always in movement. Everything is moving. You know, those cog platforms you go on, they're moving, they're spinning. The pendulums you're dodging are moving, and those clock hands that you can do shortcuts on at the beginning and end of the race are moving, which is just really cool. It has this like yellowish gray color scheme that works really well, especially with the red and blue gear part, because it's a nice contrast that makes it memorable. I'm gonna be honest, if those gears weren't colored, they would probably be a lot less memorable. The track is just like, there needs to be more Mario 64 tracks, and this track proves it. The song is so like, it's so weird, but it's also really catchy, and I quite enjoy. I don't know what kind of instrument they use for the main melody. It just feels so like weird, almost like a synth, but weirder. And that's why I love this track, and it is at the start of S tier. Woohoo Loop is next at number 5. This is such a fantastic 3-course track, and it's also a kind of decent traffic course track, even though there's not too much traffic. It just feels like so nice to go around this nice natural track, drifting up the Rocky Mountains with the caves. It has lots of shortcuts built in as well. It's a very like built-in track almost. Like on lap 2, you can jump off into a stony passageway. Or lap 3, which has one of the coolest shortcuts ever. You can drive on up to the lighthouse and then glide off a platform and go, I guess, soar away. Which is such a cool little detail. They did not need to do that, but they did it anyways. It is just so incredible. Mario Kart 7 has just incredible shortcuts in general. This track also has an insanely good song. Easily the best Wii Sports Resort remix. It works as a race course track while also feeling like you're on an adventure while feeling like you're on a vacation. It's just a really good mix of the three. And I adore this track. Probably one of my favorite 7 courses. So it goes here at number 5. Lakeside Park in Mario Kart Super Circuit is surprisingly my number 4 pick. This is probably my favorite track in all of Super Circuit. It's just so cool. Like, to start, the background, incredible. A luscious jungle with a cool volcano, and it actually changes on lap 2, and it drops more lava rocks than it already was on lap 2 because the volcano is erupting, which is such a cool detail. Bet none of y'all noticed that. Also, the track layout, just incredible. That one part with the jump especially, because there are boost panels before and after the jump, so if you take your drift too wide or hit those boost panels, you go off of a bumper placed there and you go into the ocean, or you go back before the jump, which is just really funny, and it's a good way to like make you think more carefully about your movements. The music is okay. I do prefer the Lakeside Park theme, but Riverside Park is a good theme too. This is just overall the peak of Mario Kart Super Circuit, and it comes in at number 4. Wario Coliseum is in 3rd place. So if this is the best Wario track besides Mount Wario, and Wario is the best Mario character, then this track must be good. And guess what? It is good. It's actually a really good track. To start, the drifting feels so well in this with Double Dash. You know, you're barely avoiding the sides, barely breaking your drift, especially the downward spirals. Downward spirals work, actually spirals in general work really well in Double Dash's engine. That's also proved by like Rainbow Road, I think, also has a spiral. And it's just so fun. That middle part where you can take the super epic jump upwards, or if you really want to, you can go on the side, is fun. You know, it makes you feel like one of those BMX riders, like you're doing tricks in like the Coliseum, like one of those bike cages where like motorcyclists ride around. The video should be on screen, where they ride around. It's kind of like that. It feels like that. This track would have been incredible in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. If you replaced its spot with Dry Dry Desert, the banana cup of that game would be like a really good cup instead of just a mediocre cup. The song is also Waluigi Stadium. Everybody loves the Waluigi Stadium song. And overall, this is just a really good track to start off the top 3. Sunshine Airport is in our 2nd place spot. This is such an incredible track. to start off, the theming, driving in an airport, that is absolutely absurd, but it works so well. And there's so many little hidden details that come with that. Like, there's a list of the flight schedule to different tracks. Koopa Troopa Beach is in the background of this track, which also happens to be a first track in the cup, which is a cool coincidence. You start by jumping out of the airport, dodging some crates being, on a conveyor belt, and dodging the tires of a plane. Before jumping off, doing a U-turn, and then jumping into a open plane with toads. It is so cool. After that, you go up to the runway, you boost off and go into this admittedly kind of out of place anti-grab platform. Like, it's just up there with propellers. Probably could have been a better way they could have added that. But drifting on the anti-grab with one big drift, hitting all the anti-grab spinny posts, and then jumping off is so satisfying. At the end, you glide down to the landing pad, and then there's this little shortcut at the end when you're re-entering the airport, where you can jump in between some boxes on a conveyor belt, which can make or break your race. This song on this track is absolutely incredible. It's not very complex, but it just has such a nice synth, and it's so catchy. I'm always listening to it. I love it. And I love this track, which is why it's in our runner-up spot. Our number one first track of a cup. The one, the only, from Mario Kart 8 Special Cup's very own, Cloud Top Cruise. Before I go into how this is a masterpiece of a track, let me just show you this masterpiece of a song. One thing I really like about this song is how the Cloud Top Cruise, the guitar in the background, it's actually the same, doing the same guitar like riffs as in Gusty Garden Galaxy. Have a quick listen to that. Okay, let's start talking about the actual track. To start, the platform you start on, it's a vine. It's actually a reference to 2D Mario. It's when you hit the blocks and a vine comes out of the block, that's what the brown block and the vine is. It's a reference to that, which is really cool. The cloud platforms, it's so bumpy. It feels like you're really on an adventure. Like, it's pretty bumpy. It's kind of difficult to drive on. You start by jumping on a platform and then going to a split path. It's not really that much of a split path. There's a bouncer, or you turn. Most of the time you really just want to use your bouncer, but it's a fun way to, diverse up the gameplay. Then you take a bumpy U-turn, this really proves my point earlier, into Bowser's Fleet. This is actually a pretty cool set piece, and it's really kind of challenging to weave through the different turns, especially on 200cc. It also diverses the colors as the main set piece of the track, contrasting the white and greens with a harsh brown. It works really well. Then you take a cannon, and you go into probably the best part about the track, the Thundercloud section. The Thundercloud section has its own theme. Have a listen to a couple parts of it. It's pretty good. There's a kind of a risk versus reward element with this Thundercloud section. Do you want to hit the speed boost to quickly zoom through this section? Or do you want to not risk getting zapped by the Thunderbolts and just avoid the speed panels? And if you do, the way the Thunder works is that it hits the opposite platform, so you're kind of doing this weaving motion that feels really satisfying to do. You may be thinking, wait, isn't there that floating platform thing in this track as well? Same as Sunshine Airport? Technically, yes, you're right. But because this floating platform is covered by clouds, it's not in plain sight, pun intended, like Sunshine Airport. After that, you glide out of the thunderclouds and onto that block vine thing I was talking about earlier, where there's a little shortcut where you can jump on some leaves, which is simple but satisfying. And that ends this marvelous course. Okay, now it's time to answer the questions I posed at the beginning of this video. Do you ever really start off with your best tracks? Are first tracks really that bad? The answer to the first question is yes, and for the second question, mostly. Most of the first tracks, like, we didn't really get to A tier until way up into the list, until like 70% of the list. So like most of the tracks are just slightly above average or quite average. And there's not really a best first track in a cup besides Cloud Top Cruise. That is the one exception. But so this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and if you want to hang out, come join the Discord in the description. It's lots of fun, you'll get to see updates on the content and more stuff. So anyways, until next time,